Okay, the next thing we'd like to do is show you how to replace a water key spring. Okay, again, these break, and they usually break just before a concert, so we'd like to show you how to replace this. Very easy. Again, try to make sure that you have the right size screwdriver head for the screw that you're pulling out. Undo the screw. Take the old spring off and try to find the right size or a similar size spring to replace the one that you took off. Notice this only has one loop to it. You have other springs that will have 2 or 3 different loops. The back side is shorter, longer. Notice again, this is a little bit different size. Okay, so we're going to use this spring because it's the closest I have to replace the one that is broken. So notice that this water key has also lost its cork. So I'm going to replace it with a new cork. We have our selection of cork here. You should have several different types, some for larger instruments like your euphonium, trombone. We should find one that fits the cup snugly. And this should be it here. Okay. Not only should it fit in here, but it should stay. So we're going to take a little bit of this cork and pad cement. This is the same cement that we use on saxophone pads. Comes in a tube, just like the clarinet shellac. We just want to use a very little amount of glue, the bottom part of the cup. This has a tendency to overrun because it is a metal container. So we're going to put this water key cork on here and just kind of slip it in. We'll make a few adjustments once we get the water key on there. Okay, make sure that it seats properly. Okay, if you look at the spring, you have a flat side that should go on this back side of the water key. The little loop should fit right over the center. And what we want to do is drop it straight down into the connecting section. Okay, so if you'll just notice this, I'm dropping it straight down. Going to find the corresponding hole. Push the rod through, or the screw through. One thing that I failed to mention is make sure that you're pushing the screw through the open end of the screw holder here. This opposite side is threaded. So that should do it right there. And notice on this opposite side here, that water key sets, or the cork sets right on top of the water key. So you should have a nice seal. If you'll open this up, I'm going to just kind of do a suction test. Make sure that it's not leaking. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing with this. I'm going to take my pliers here. These are just round nose pliers. I'm going to take this spring and bend it around the post. Takes this other end, bend around the post. Then I'll take a wire cutter here and snip the very end. We want wire cutters that move to the edge. That way the spring won't be poking you all the time. And that should do it. One thing that is very frustrating to band directors is to have your students tune and their slides not working, so you can't make the adjustments in the tuning. I'm going to show you on this trumpet how to pull slides safely. Now usually when the slide is stuck, you have some corrosion that has built up between the inner slide and the outer slide. So the first thing we want to do is take a product like this WD-40. Okay, it's a rust release penetrating spray. Okay, and you spray it right on the outer edges where the slide attaches. Okay, and we really need to let that set for several hours so it'll work its way through. Okay, so after we've done that, the next thing we do is take a cloth. I used a smaller cloth for the smaller diameter slides. You pull it on through, and holding the instrument tight, and I have this on a vise, you can see that this almost looks like a table leg, and it probably was at one point in time. That has just been adapted for holding musical instruments. I have another one here. What did I do with it?
There.
Oh, I brought another one out to show you, which is another larger leg that I use on the same vise to hold larger instruments like euphonium. A trombone would go onto this, a large bore trombone, bass trombone. So anyway, what we want to do is hold the instrument so we don't bend anything, and pull it in the angle that the slide has been attached. So we pull it hard, just a quick stroke, and it should pull out pretty easily. Don't try to force this. Again, if it doesn't come out, use a little bit more penetrating oil and work its way out. Same thing for this slide here. Slide through and pull in this direction. This is a first valve slide, so its first and third are working very easily for me. Tuning slide, okay? Again, we want to use a cloth, a little bit larger cloth for the tuning slide, because there's a larger area that we need to cover. So we pull the cloth through, doubling up this Cork-Stuck cloth that I used before. And I'm just going to pull this out a little. And pull it with a jerky in this direction. Okay, if you can see that. Okay, use penetrating oil. Make sure that when you replace it, you clean it very well. Sometimes I'll use a synthetic steel wool to clean the inner slides if they're really, really nasty. And then grease it up really well and place it back where it's supposed to go.